Hey guys! Welcome back to Let's Play Star Ocean 3. Last time we took out a bunch of the middle bosses and moved up to some point in the 211 Sphere dungeon here. Now, I wanted to make one thing clear about the last set of enemies we were fighting, the sooties here. Ignore those things. Anyway, so we have the regular sized ones here, but we also have little tiny ones over there. Let's just take a look and try and remember how difficult these fights are. I'm actually going to use Maria for this fight, even though she's being attacked. That's helpful. Yeah. Anyway, you remember how difficult these guys can be. Not super difficult, but still difficult enough. Oddly enough, they can change up if you're not, teaming up on them. They tend to team up on your guys, and you can't get their attacks off. The battle actually does become somewhat difficult.
Too strong, am I?
By the way, I'm on floor 199 at this point. 200 is the next one with any useful items, or in this case, a boss fight. So we're just going to do that. But first, I wanted to show off how much more powerful the... No. I was going to say how much more powerful the little ones are, but apparently they're not going to give me the fight that I want. Yeah, I don't care about that. That's not a big deal. I just got that in this fight anyway. Let's try that again. There we go. I had to reload my state a few times. But yeah, we're fighting like 5 of these guys now, and they use a lot more spells and they attack a lot more often, and they are just absolute death to deal with. If you can get one of those locked on, lucky you. If not, you're probably going to end up dead. As you can see, you pretty much get yourself annihilated in these fights, and I'm not doing anything particularly different. Well, let's use perfect berries there. But yeah, it doesn't matter what attacks they use, they stun lock you in place, they do lots of damage. It's rather difficult to deal with. You do get a lot... Yeah, see what I mean about lots of damage, and... No, can't use pretty much anything at this point. Let's see if I can move before I'm dead. Nope.
It would come to this.
That's how difficult those fights are. Just wanting to let you guys know, you probably want to ignore those fights. Yeah. It is beatable, and if you do beat them without triple experience, you get 250,000 experience for that fight, and it's really, really worthwhile if you're not taking too much damage. So it would probably behoove you to max out your levels before fighting them, and then of course there's no reason to. You could also, build up super amounts of defense, or get some elemental absorption in there to help you out with that. But anyway, let's move on to the 200th floor. Okay, we're back. Now, I just undid my save state. I just had to prep myself up. So we're on the 200th floor, as you may see there. And pretty much, that's the only treasure on this floor, and it's not even something that I care about. But there is a boss on this floor. This next boss is where they start to get a little bit difficult. The next one, on the other hand, is where it gets downright impossible. Yeah, the next level after the one we're about to face is where things really start to get difficult. There are still difficulties left in this game. And it's Blair. Anyone want to know who the boss is? We've already fought her once. What are you doing here? Game? If you recognize what some of the other characters have said, the ones that we fought, the bosses, they've said something about a supreme deity or something like that. Anyway, it's an interesting idea. We get round 2 against Blair. This time, she has 4 million HP. Now, first things first, hit her with a stun bomb to lower her defense, specifically these ones, of course. And then I'm actually going to switch over to Maria, and I'm going to start using spells. I'm going to use... I can't remember if there's a difference between the amount of defense that you get from Angel's Feather versus Protection, but I'm just going to make life simple and use Angel's Feather, specifically on Fate, and then I'm going to run! Yeah, that attack can do quite a bit of damage, so be careful of that. Then I'm going to hit myself with it. I'm not as worried about Cliff because he does tend to do that where he goes in real close and tries to beat her up with his fists instead of max shockwave. But that's... yeah, beware of that attack. It does do quite a bit of damage. There we are. Ow. No battle trophies for this fight, but that'll be the last boss fight where we won't have to worry about them. The remaining 3 super bosses in the game are going to be full of things like that, and we're going to need to play around a whole bunch. One thing you may want to do for this fight that I forgot to do when I loaded my save there is put on convert damage, because she does tend to do a lot of MP damage, and since you have the ability to heal multi-target heal HP, and you don't have the ability to multi-target heal MP, it's much more effective to turn on preserve MP, so you don't take MP damage, and you do tend to stay alive a little longer. As you can see, Cliff is getting the crap beaten out of him with that, and I need something to heal him. Mental Enhancer, that should do her. See, it's a much easier to heal, you know, just HP when you're not worrying about that. Would you stop that? Interrupting my attack every 2 seconds. Ouchie. Yeah, gonna need some perfect berries now. And as you can see, Cliff's almost dead, and wow. I actually didn't have to revive anybody in that fight. That's the first time that's happened, and I fought her like 3 times off screen. And I had to revive people a whole bunch of times. Anyway, Cliff barely survives that fight, and we make it through with the Levantine, which is Fate's ultimate weapon. We'll take a look at that in a moment here. Supreme Deity. Yeah. Well, the thing is, she talks about being able to meet him, but just because we beat her doesn't mean we can meet the Supreme Deity. There's one more challenge in our way before we can get there, and it is a doozy. The previous boss before this had, what, maybe 3 million HP? She had 4 million. The next boss has 7 million, and 700,000 MP if you're thinking about MP killing her, which is probably actually preferable. There's a lot to do here. Let's take a look at blue cheese there, heal up some MP. Now, what I was talking about there, you probably want to do this before going too much further. You want to preserve MP with Fate and with Cliff here. And it'll probably be a better choice. With Marie, it doesn't matter because she's usually far enough back and won't have to worry about it. The other thing you're going to want to pay attention to before moving on to floor 210, which contains the next boss, is 208, my level. That is nowhere near enough. You're going to want to max out your level, and you're going to want to finish putting Boots of Prowess on your weapons, or finish off your weapons if you haven't done so already. I'm going to do that off screen, of course. But here's the Levantine if you're interested in it. It already has 8 factors, so it takes a long time to get them all off if you plan to use this weapon. If you do, I would recommend building a weapon very similar to this one. If you want to go what is called the Uber Fate route, use the Vaneslay and just stack 8 Boots of Prowess on there and call it a day, and then just equip one of those and either one of these or a fully refined Blazing Pendant, which is the elemental absorbing one after enough refining. But that's entirely up to you. I'm going to go and I'm going to refine this. I am going to go put the last couple of Boots of Prowess on that weapon, and I'll probably end up maxing out my levels before I go back. If you are going to max out your levels, I would recommend doing them at like floor 170, somewhere in that range where you fight the fish, because that's the easiest experience for the amount of time you spend and less chance to lose your bonus gauge, which I do intend on getting again before I go back. The next set of enemies that you can run into, this is probably empty. Yeah. Next set of enemies is actually on floor 202. And there's a couple of new enemies, but not a lot. So I'll just splice in those battles as I find them. and I'm going to level up as I go, and by the time I hit floor 210, I'll have gone back and got all that stuff off screen, and we will see you once I've done all of that work. Okay, we're back at floor 202, and this one has folio, so I might as well show that. Let's find out which this one does. I got some defense berries off screen there. Starfall! That's familiar. Oh. I would have assumed that that would have been a spell. Must be for Pita then. That's different. Oh well. No big deal. Anyway, so there should be... Am I going the right way around here? Probably not. Quit. Yes, I am. So there should be a new enemy around here somewhere, so I might as well just run straight over there. I only have one more item to pick up, and that'll be right up here. Ah, new enemy. Let's show this guy off. A lot of the enemies around here look like bosses. Okay, they're not. They're not super powerful, but they're not super weak either. And they will build up your gauge, but they really don't give that good experience, and they definitely don't give that, interesting money. So I wouldn't really bother fighting these guys. They're just not worth the extra effort. No other treasures on this floor that I'm interested in. There might be synthesis materials. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I've been ignoring those chests because I don't need them anymore. Because I have a full stock. I won't need them until later. So the end should be in here. Oh, there's another new enemy. Let's show him off. And then I'll just splice in the remaining ones. This guy, like all the previous ones, when he does that, can be really annoying. So be aware of that. Anytime he gets one of his Horicalthos circles or whatever, it just leads to a bad time. Either you'll break your gauge or some other crap happens that you don't want. So anyway, I'll see you. I think there's only one or two other fights to show off, and then I'll do all my other stuff, and I'll see you then. Okay, we got another new one here. Again, looks like an old boss. Again, I'm not worried because this one dies real quick. Not a whole lot to show. They all have around the same experience. Alright, here is, I think, the last of the new enemies, though I could be wrong. He's not much to shake a leg at either. Alright, here we are at floor 209, and this contains another scroll. Let's see if this is of any use. Let's take a look at the items I got in the meantime. Book of Prophecies. I think these lead the way and explain stuff about the Ursa Cave Temple that we already did. I don't really know. I haven't really paid much attention. What is this? Oh, it's some other thing that I don't care about. Woo! Alright, scroll, gremlins. I believe this is for you? There we are. I believe that's a summon spell. Let's take a look at you for a moment. There is a reason why I'm keeping her at level 1, and only 50 MP? Go figure. Whatever. Anyway, that's all for this floor. I got one more scroll to show you on floor 210. I may or may not be able to do that before fighting the boss, so if I can, I'll show it to you now. If not, then maybe later. Alright, there was another new enemy. I've forgotten about this guy. This guy is as annoying as you might expect him to be. He actually can start spinning around and knock your characters flying and break your gauge and use an ice breath attack that can basically one-shot you because it hits so many times, so be aware of that. I've had my gauge broken at the start of a battle with one of these guys before without really having a chance to move, so that's one thing to worry about, and that's about it. Alright, we're back and we're on the 210th floor. I was able to get the final item. There's also some strength berries on this floor. Let's take a look here real quick. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've found since the last floor. Meteor Swarm! That's for you. I think they can both use it, actually. Either way, the enemies around here are really not worth fighting. I get about 4 battles into a bonus gauge, and then every time I do that, I usually get one-shotted by somebody, or killed, or have my gauge broken in some way or another. So I'm going to build up a gauge, and I'm going to go grind off on 170, 180, somewhere in there where the fish are, and get all that stuff done and do all my prep, and I'll see you back on this floor for the boss fight. Okay, we're back, and technically we're back, but I'm back days later because I had a super busy weekend, and I just didn't get around to recording this part of the video. As you can see, all of that work has paid off. We have now hit max levels. And as you can see, we have all the SP in the world that we don't need. I don't know why they let you continue to get so much, but yeah, whatever. Skill setup for this area, or for this upcoming boss fight, is pretty much what you'd expect. Everything's set up pretty much the way you want. You could alternatively use Cliff with Fists of Fury if you want to try locking the boss down a little bit more. I found that this is more effective at preventing the boss from using a couple of special techs. In fact, my most recent test run, which was actually a couple of days ago now, was quite effective at locking her down, and she barely got, enough hits in on me to do anything, and I just slaughtered the boss. But in previous attempts, this hasn't worked so well for me, so to each his own. And of course, you are set up exactly the way I would expect. Now, as far as equipment goes, we have returned to, Curl Saw, and we have refined some more Boots of Prowess, put them on my weapons, and I also refined his armor, so now his armor is his defense is sitting at 3,800. In fact, there is a strategy known as the Uber Fates setup, which involves giving him as much defense as possible by synthesizing 8 Boots of Prowess onto something, such as the Metal Pipe. As you can see, it doesn't make for the greatest raw defense raw attack value, even though it does help the defense quite a bit. But you can remedy this by using something like a Might Tablet as soon as you start the battle, and then you don't have to worry about it. Now, the way this Uber strategy works is it actually raises his defense, and the reason why this is under Fate is because he has the highest base defense value in the game. Because if he has enough defense, you can actually negate all physical damage from an enemy. In fact, the boss upcoming can only deal 3,500, it has an attack 3,500 or whatever. If you have 3,500 defense with him, he'll negate it all. However, if you have Berserk on, that lowers your defense by 30%, meaning he doesn't actually have that much. So he will still take damage in this fight. At least this time out. I'm going to show you guys a pretty cool strategy for taking out the boss without having to worry about taking damage and just being completely invulnerable for getting the no damage battle trophies, the solo battle trophies, and defeating her with the Metal Pipe battle trophies. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the other weapons. I've now, because I've maxed my levels, switched Cliff over to his other gauntlets, which are by all accounts his best weapon. You could build him up as a tank with lots of HP, but I would probably just do it this way. That's just me. That's my choice. Again, Valiant Male, Tri-Emblem. She got a couple more attack and defense factors as well. Unfortunately, since her base defense isn't nearly as high, she's kind of stuck here. Not as high as I'd like, but oh well. Anyway, with that being said, we are at floor 210. Let's move in. The kid again. How many times are you going to summon enemies for me to fight? Quite a few now. A kid? Yeah, you get some weird magic, but you can't be that powerful, can you? Of course, the fact that I've already said how powerful this boss is earlier probably disregards that. I would control Maria to start this fight. Now, this is Lenneth, decked out in all of her gear, which I would assume she had in, not Parasite Eve, Valkyrie Profile. Anyway, first things first, we want to hit her with a stun bomb to lower her defense. Absolutely necessary. Next thing is protection. These spells here only last about a minute, but it's really good to start off with these, and I'm going to do protection because that ups your, at least according to one of the guides I've looked at, your defense by 50%, where Angel Feather only ups it by 20%, but it does all stats. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to hit power up on Fate. Cliff already has his attack power maxed out, so you can't really do anything about that. I am going to stun her again, so she doesn't get any attacks. And as far as this, I'm going to hit power up on myself here. And I'm going to throw one more stun bomb at him. And now I'm going to switch to Cliff, because I found Cliff doesn't use his max shockwave nearly enough unless I'm controlling him. So I'm going to control him for most of the fight, especially early on. And later on, I will control him as well. You could go either way at the start of the fight, really. And if Marie doesn't get out of the way, I'm going to control her real quick here. Well, I got maximum damage relative to the game. Can I stop running, please? Thank you. Unloading Energy Burst is a good idea. Ow. The other thing, your confusion does not help. Alright, and somebody died because confusion. Yeah, there's a lot to this fight about trying to stay alive and not get your ass kicked. So controlling different characters is probably worthwhile, specifically if you need to heal lots. You're going to want to use perfect berries a lot in this fight, and I would recommend holding on to your magical berries, which have a lot more healing potential with 90% to all people. So I would save that for the other fight. Okay, now as soon as she goes and does that, the Niblum, whatever that attack is, I don't know. That's the point where we have to control Cliff and lock her down. Because what... Stop that. What that means is she's going to start initiating that really super powerful attack that has all that defense or all that power that you need to disregard. That one right there. Oh, okay, that works too. But once she starts doing that, it can hit the entire field and do a butt ton of damage. It is ridiculously powerful, and you definitely want to use a stun bomb on her or hit her with an attack. For some reason, she gets knocked out of there relatively easily if you hit her. The only problem is you have to hit her with, I think, a tech that would actually knock her down, such as Air Raid, Max Shockwave. I guess to an extent, what is that? The Energy Burst does seem to work sometimes, but not always. Anyway, yeah, we got a bunch of battle trophies here. But let's see if we can do it a different way. But unfortunately, because of all the time I've spent trying to go over strategy, well, we've kind of run over time. So next time we'll start a fight against her again. This time we're going to go the solo route, and I will show off how we can basically own the boss with enough defense. Anyway, that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.